Welcome to OWAD today. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue exploring lookalikes. And we have been doing this horizontal line, vertical line. That's the simplest structure. So yesterday we talked about got two horizontal lines with one vertical line. And today we add one extra stroke horizontal line at the bottom. So now it's three horizontal lines with one vertical line. And we have to pay attention that this vertical line doesn't puncture through the top or the bottom. Otherwise, meanings will be different. And this means ruler. I didn't put king over there because over the history, the definition of what kind of a ruler changes. But ruler is more like a generic. It's more broader, different categories of rulers, right? So the scale of ruling still contained within the ruler, versus if it's a king, probably it will be more specific. Okay, it's wáng in Chinese. And we can see traditional looks the same. 2,000 years ago's dictionary is slightly off. First off, notice the middle horizontal line is shifted above the midpoint of that vertical line. So this is not evenly distributed three horizontal lines like the simplified and traditional Chinese nowadays. That slight variation matters because the concept of ruler came from the visual cue of who is a ruler. Imagine you're an alien or somebody who migrate a long distance. You fall into this group of people. And how are you going to identify who is the boss there? I mean, today we use boss, but I guess ancient times, like who is a leader, who is a ruler, like who everybody else have to obey. And that visual cue is this same. So the first horizontal line at the bottom means ground. And then the remaining vertical line and two horizontal lines on the top means the decorated staff, or I forgot it was the English word. Like it's decorated, kind of like when we watch movies describing a tribal leader, not only like they have fancy headgears or decoration on their body, they oftentimes hold a staff that's especially carved out or decorated with something on the top portion of it, because this is our eye level. So if you do decoration, you're going to focus on the top portion of it. And that special staff is the symbolization, this is the visual cue, because the ruler oftentimes is not the tallest guy, it's not the most handsome guy, or somebody who is most muscular even. So when a foreigner drop onto a new clan of people, what's the visual cue? It's this specially decorated staff. So Chinese use that to signify the holder of that special staff. That becomes the ruler. And we have a whole kind of expressions that talks about what wáng would do. Wáng is this, okay, by the way, wáng, W-A-N-G. You have a read through media, reporting of stories have done, associated with Chinese people. Very often you may see this wáng because, hey, the meaning is the ruler, and who doesn't want to be a ruler or something, right? So this wáng end up, I don't know exactly how. Okay, so this wáng end up as one of the most commonly used surnames among Chinese people. So wáng, if you see that, most likely it's a Chinese person. And originally it means ruler. 王者荣耀, 者 is definition of somebody. So 王者 is kind of a repetitive. So we already talked about wáng as the role in a society, as the ruler. And the 者 is a definition, kind of tell you who is the boss, right? Who is the ruler? So 王者 means this is the definition of the ruler. And 荣耀, 荣 means honor. 耀 means like radiance, like glory, right? Honor and the glory of the ruler as defined here. That's a game, first, I guess, released in 2015. Honor of Kings is the English translation. And you can see here, this 王者 was translated as kings. It's kind of a narrow down. And because in China, we had a period, actually probably multiple periods, that got multiple kings coexisting. And we can all see what's going to happen, right? Kind of Game of Thrones played out in history multiple times in China. So multiple kings possible. And 成王败寇. Okay, the result of who is going to be the ruler. The king of the land is you have to win. So 成 means you win, and 败 is you lose. So if you lose, you're going to be cast as you're not the okay. 寇 is the enemy. Not only is the enemy, but it's the derogative term for the enemy, as if like, okay, two forces fight, right? The winner eventually write history, and they're going to cast themselves as the one on the side of either the God or the morals, or they are following the Tao, like they legitimize their ruling result simply because they won the war. And then they're going to cast their enemy into this negative view. Not only they lost, but they somehow is like under equipped or underperformed, or it's not not the best kind of a military force. So 寇 is this negative casting of your foe. 帝王将相, we talked about that last year probably as the ruling class structure. 帝 is the emperor. And under the emperor, there may be different cousins or the military people who supported this emperor to come into the throne. And all those people may be given, may or may not, we didn't know, right? Given the honor of being called king. So this king, this wang, originally was the ruler, the top, the epitome, the apex of the whole society originally, until one day, one emperor decided, okay, 帝 is the term for this one singular ruler, and then the rest of them were going to be renamed as Wang, but they are not the ultimate. They could be like associated, it could rule regionally, but they have to show loyalty to this one ruler. So 帝 is about Wang, and then 将 and 相 simply are two functions of people who are on the top of the ranks. So 将 means the military general, the military leader, and 相 is the bureaucracy leader. They can serve as the think tank, the advisor, the consultants, the chief of staff or chief communicator, the spokesperson, the writing up of orders for the 帝, the ruler. So 将 and 相 are two functions. In Chinese, years of dynasties of turning and overturn, 将 and 相 are ended up as the two major branches of how the ruler are going to rule. And the Wang simply, I guess, as a retirement plan, because all these Wangs contributed to that 帝, and 帝 have to kind of resign them in a peaceful way so that they're not going to have further power struggle among these ruling class. and simply di, and then multiple wáng, and under the di, there will be jiang and xiang to govern, to control, military or civilian governing. So that's wáng. And I guess this is when I search the representation of ruler, Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor, okay, not just Wang, but emperor, who unified a whole big piece of land in China, who may have different dialects, right, different customs, different people, right, never heard about them. It's like way before mass communication. So this one ruler came to the throne to rule a way vaster piece of land where he came from. And this is, I guess, the historical imagination of how that ruler will look like. And of course, it's kind of a power male, alpha male imagery. That's Wang. Thank you for your time. See you another day.